this is the Central European Affairs podcast, and my name is Zoltán, Kész, and my guest today is Stulík, who is the Eastern European Program Director of the European Values Center for Security Policy, a Czech non-governmental agency. And since Sunday in the region of Central Europe, everybody has been talking about what happened on Sunday when the Czech government decided to expel 18 Russian embassy staff related to an ammunition depot explosion that happened in 2014. Now, David, how do you see what happened, and do you see any escalation of this in the future?
It has shaken up at least the Czech political scene, and it will have, I would say, far-reaching and long-lasting consequences. And it is also the first time, maybe after 1968, when the Soviet Union occupied Czechoslovakia, when we faced, let's say, a military attack on our territory, a military attack conducted by the officers of the Russian military intelligence service. And this is a quite serious let's say, circumstance and situation when we have these kind of acts and operations of Russian secret services on our territory. So that's why the reaction of the Czech government was so, I would say, strong. We expelled all those Russian citizens with diplomatic passports who were proved to work for the Russian secret services. And now we'll see how far the conflict is going to escalate.
You said that the Czech government reacted strongly. However, Monday night, Babiš said that it was not an act of state terrorism. So it was not a very strong statement. And also, Miloš Zeman did not say really anything. Why is there a soft tune in the government?
When the Prime Minister and its deputy, the Deputy Prime Minister, made that announcement, we know that they were under extreme time pressure because there was information that all this story has been also leaked to the media, and the media might release these stories on Monday. So that's why the government had to act, I would say, rather on the ad hoc basis. And they had to have they had to show a strong reaction. And I think what happened yesterday during the day, there was some sort of a reconsidering of possible consequences of all these steps. And the government officials probably came to the conclusion that it would be actually better not to further escalate. And this is my explanation why Prime Minister Babiš yesterday made this rather surprising soft statement. And the fact that the President Zeman, who is considered to be the representative of interests of Russian in our country, has nothing to say at the moment. I think he's just waiting for a proper momentum to enter this discussion. But the fact that he hasn't said anything so far is quite telling.
And why wait 7 years for announcing this? Did it come out right now, or did the secret agencies, secret services have any information about that before?
So basically, back in 2014, the investigators didn't have enough of information around these ammunition depots. They couldn't let's say, associate their identity with any other identities. This was only possible thanks to the exchange of information between different allied intelligence services. The Czech investigators were able to kind of associate the profiles, passports, personal data of these two Russian officers to those who were close to that depot in 2014. These two officers are the ones who are responsible for that. So only recently, let's say, that it is also said that around 2-3 weeks ago, all that information was confirmed, and that was the only moment when they could come out with this information to the public.
I see. Well, David, one of the things that I'm really interested in related to Russia, since you lived in the Ukraine for 12 years, so you're quite familiar with the region there as well. Now, a very worrying problem is the Russian troop buildup at the Ukrainian border. How do you see that? What do you expect from that?
These are all very closely related things and developments. We see that Russia due to the domestic, let's say, issues, there will be parliamentary elections this year in Russia, and Russia internally is facing numerous problems with its economy, problems with its social policy, problems with the COVID-19 situation. So the parliamentary elections are a kind of a moment of truth for the current government, or for the current authorities, or for President Putin. So he definitely needs to refocus the attention of the public from the domestic issues to the external ones. He's definitely interested in increasing, let's say, pressure and escalation of relations with the West as a sort of a issue that could substitute the domestic, let's say, problems. And of course, here his kind of arch enemy is the NATO. So everything that could be used as an argument that the NATO is treating us badly, NATO is getting closer to us, NATO is offending us, is attacking us. This is all what President Putin needs, and that's why all these things are very closely related. These are the two sides of the same coin.
I see. Now, you mentioned elections in Russia, but there are also elections in the Czech Republic this year. Do you think that the information related to the depot bombing came out this year to make Babiš score some good in the electorate because he's not leading in the polls?
From that information that I have, this information was a kind of I would say, pleasant surprise for Babiš. What was happening during the last, let's say, couple of days and weeks, we saw the strengthening of pro-Russian politicians, of pro-Russian policies. President Zeman forced the prime minister to replace two ministers, including the Minister of Health, the one who was refusing to use Russian vaccine Sputnik 5 in the Czech Republic. Babiš also replaced the very pro-Western and pro-democratic foreign minister conditions. And these conditions are quite clear: to accept Russian Rosatom in the huge public tender for the extension of our nuclear power station or plant in Dukovany, and also to buy Sputnik 5. So Babiš was actually the one who was at the weaker position, because his government is a minority government that is being tolerated, or that was tolerated in the parliament by communists. But the communists also last week denounced this tolerance. His government could collapse. And also, it's very important for Babiš to stay in the power, because our pandemic situation is improving significantly these days, and it will get even better during summer. So that would mean that the public support for Babiš is expected to grow. So basically, Babiš needs to stay in the government in order to harvest these dividends of his tough measures against the pandemic. And the results are there. Because it is Zeman who is in extremely good terms with the Czech Communist Party, because they are both considered to be the agents of influence of Russia. Babiš's government could face a vote of non-confidence in the parliament, and all these consequences for Babiš with regard to the elections I already mentioned.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, David. This was the Central European Affairs podcast, and my guest today was David Stulík, who is the head of the Eastern European Program for European Values Center for Security Policy. Thank you, David.